Hey everybody, Max here, and today we'll be taking a look at the G.I. Joe and Cobra Divers, part of the m.a.s.s device subline. These guys come with the heavy water, as seen in the original m.a.s.s device miniseries of the G.I. Joe cartoon way back in the day. The one thing that this comes with a lot, this 2-pack, but what it does not come with is a tube worm. And that would have been kind of cool, actually. So Hasbro, give us a tube worm. Never thought I'd say that sentence. Let's dive on into the package. Pretty cool 2-pack. I think this was a Target exclusive. I definitely got it from Target. And I got it on sale, and the long game stays triumphant. Pretty cool artwork on the side. Definitely like the underwater diorama shot here. That's pretty cool. We're seeing some tube worms in the background. That would have been cool. That was a wild episode, that's for sure. So yeah, pretty cool here. I do like these dioramas that we get, some attributes for the divers, and then there we are. So number 169 in the line. So that is the package. Let's talk about the accessories as we normally do. Uh, so yeah, this is the heavy water, and like the oh, what is it that comes with Breaker? The sand, volcanic crystals, volcanic rock. Yeah, that's what it is. It's one solid plastic piece to represent the water, and it obviously does detach and everything. And it's the same little tube to resemble the containers from the cartoon. And it does have these two little ports right here, so I do think we will get a m.a.s.s device at some point down the line where we can plug these in. That will be fine. It doesn't have to be a HasLab. I don't even think it has to be as big as it was in the cartoon, just enough to plug these things in. So at any rate, comes with that. Let's see here. Let's talk about the Cobra stuff first, since the Cobra figure actually comes with a little more, but it is still nothing we haven't seen before for the most part. So we get this submersible colored in red. This came with the Recon Diver Cobra logo on it, and the let's see, let's just use a little the fan here, or propeller here, does rotate, but you can't blow on it like a turbine whistle or anything like that. So got that screw there and some deco here, the two displays. I guess this is either an oxygen or a fuel, or maybe a depth gauge perhaps, something like that. It comes apart, it comes apart a little too easily, so I'm probably going to be gluing this together. So now Cobra has their own submersible. It comes with a spear gun, same one that we have seen with the eels and with torpedo. And it is actually fairly stiff, so that is good. The others were fairly flexible and flimsy, so pretty cool little thing. Red handle for our red cord for the Cobras. Comes with a submachine gun or short barrel rifle, same that comes with torpedo. They both get one. Well, his is plugged into the back. So they get the same backpack, same rebreather, and it ports into the back, so it can plug in here like that. So just like torpedo. And then we have two cool new weapons. At least they're new to me. I don't think I've seen these in any other Cobra set, but pretty cool. This one's a little bent, kind of has a futuristic AR style, but with some blue, kind of like, I guess this is meant to be like some kind of directed energy weapon. I keep thinking of it like a Tesla rifle. That's what I keep calling it, like it discharges a bolt of energy, bolt of lightning. However, it does have a standard magazine for what I'm assuming are cartridges, rifle cartridges. However, maybe it's just looks that way. Maybe that's the power port. Maybe it's just been modified. So, and has what looks like a scope and a red dot reflex sight. And anyway, pretty cool. Red and blue paint. Definitely like this, and it is nice and solid too. So that is great. Let's see. Head sculpt comes with two head sculpts. So I've got the light skinned one on there. I'll show you that in a second. Let's shine a little extra light on the subject. And these are you get 4 head sculpts total, and they are the exact same head sculpts that you got with the Recon Diver. They are just recolored. So the African American is more, there's shades in skin tone for him, and but they are the same. So they kind of get a little creative with different skin tones, eye color, facial features, or facial coloring like scars, freckles, that sort of thing. So this guy's just a lighter skin, very serious. And then we have this one here for the Joe, and he has some freckles and what looks like a scar, blue eyes. So, but same head sculpt as the Recon Diver. And our Joe, he comes with also a spear gun, and it is nice and solid. Yellow cord, silver tip, a little warped, but not too bad. And so those are the accessories that you can't see. So like I said, the figures are same body as Torpedo. Definitely love this figure. So I didn't have Torpedo as a kid. This is actually probably the second G.I. Joe that I purchased after my brother got me 3 for my birthday, and then the next weekend I went out and Rock and Roll was the first. I think this guy was the second. So I was glad to have found Torpedo. I got him right when he was getting hard to find. So I really like that. And then we have the same body with the Recon Diver. And so here you can see the dark-skinned head sculpt and the differences in skin tone and different lip coloring, but it is essentially the same features. So, or it's definitely the same features, just recolored. So yeah, same body. So if you have the Recon Diver, you've seen it before. Also the eel for the most part. So we've seen this body several times. And that's fine. Like I said, I'm a sucker for the underwater character, so I'm looking forward to Wetsuit. So be on the lookout for that review when I get him, hopefully in the next near future. And the Hydro Viper, definitely want to get that. If we get Deep 6, that would be fantastic. And then and whoever else we might get. So going with the Cobra figure still, let's take a look at his kind of, I don't even know what to call this thing. It's like a pump action Tesla gun. It's like, it's kind of built like, constructed like a shotgun, but it's got no port for blast effects. It just has this blue little port. And several Cobra weapons have had this in the past. So I don't know if this is new. It's new to me, but I definitely think it's cool. I definitely like the futuristic look that Cobra weapons have, and I like the fact that G.I. Joe is typically more standard style military weapons. So let's see, let's just work our way down. So we've got the rebreather, and like I said, it's the same rebreather we've seen before, and then the SMG plugs in right there. With varying degrees or success of retention, it kind of eventually it will, if you plug it in and plug it out and pull it out, it's eventually going to wear out and it's not going to hold it very well. But it's meant to do that. Cobra logo on the back. And let's pop this off. Now, oh, before I do that, let's get this guy back in there. There we go. Now, it's fitting flush now, but it does not coming out of the package. I actually had to trim down the backpack peg, or rebreather peg, I should say, because it was a little too long. So you can see where I've snipped it a little bit so that it would fit more flush. So just be careful with that you don't take off too much material and it doesn't stay in there very well. So same rebreather we've seen with Torpedo, just recolored. And I typically, the oxygen mask and the tubes, they come out, they plug in here on the sides, but I typically use a little Mod Podge and glue them in to make them a little more secure, because they don't pop in. There's no, I could probably, yeah, I don't want to, but they do come out, but I glue them in simply to not lose them. And it's just a little frustrating too when you're trying to move it and it's constantly moving and popping out. So the tubes are fairly flexible, so you can kind of move it a bit. So even with the head and everything, you can get some decent, it's not going to hinder it too much. But the mask itself, original to Torpedo, repaint, silver, red, and clear lenses, and it fits very well. So I do quite like this setup. I do wish that it was different, like say the original eel. I mean, we get the same backpack with the eel, but with the little water jets on the bottom. This is not what the original eel backpack looked like or rebreather looked like. I wish it did, and I wish we could have gotten that for this guy here, but it does the job. Let's see, he comes with this really annoying belt. He comes with a machete, and this is Copperhead's machete, and it is Copperhead's belt. And as you can see, it is too big for this guy because this body is much more slim. And I think I posted a picture on Instagram of Torpedo going up against Copperhead, and you can tell the differences in size. Copperhead's a much bigger guy, and I think this might actually be glued onto the waist piece on Copperhead. So here it just floats around. It can go all the way up to his chest. So it's kind of one of those afterthought things that they just like, hey, let's just throw in this extra piece and, put it on there and let's just reuse it. So there's a little extra something, something, but it floats around way too much and I don't like that. So I'm going to take this off and give it to a bigger figure. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Crystal Ball, somebody like that. But it's a cool weapon, don't get me wrong. A little flexibility to it, but pretty good paint. The handle is too thin for the hands on this figure, and so it kind of rattles. Well, now it's calling me a liar. There it goes. Just kind of flops around a little bit, but it is what it is. I may get some kind of like modeling clay or something like that and mold it on here to thicken it up so it'll stay in his hand or any other hand. The Joe comes with the same thing, and I took it off and gave it to my Kit Bash Carrick here. And the Valiverse C grip hands hold it fairly well. If you can find one that's fairly well closed, it will hold it decently. So this seems like the kind of weapon that Carrick would use. So it fits fairly nicely around the waist of Mr. Kit Bash Carrick here. So if you're in the Valiverse, you can give that weapon to one of your Valiverse bad guys. But at any rate, let's get the back in there. And he has a harness that is, I mean, it's not molded on. Obviously, it's a separate piece, just an overlay that also comes from Torpedo. And then the Cobra logo underneath there. Pretty good paint. I do like the look of this guy a bit better than the yellow. Yellow is not my favorite color. They both look cool. I think they captured the colors very well, but I like this one, the red, the black, and something about the gray stripe down the uh, between the black and the red that I quite like. So, and then we have the dive knife. Now the dive knife is nice. It's nice and thick, the handle, and so a standard Joe trigger finger hand will hold that fairly well. And as you can see here, but the sheath, this is something that I did on Torpedo. So you can tell, same thing, right? But I glued it down, so you can probably see a little bit of the glue right there shining through, just to keep it from flopping around, because I hate it when things flop around. So I have not done that yet, but I'll probably glue it down as well. And then he has a nice detachable little extra pouches here. You can take that off if you want. That's not, I think it stayed fairly well on Torpedo, so I may keep it there as well. So, but yeah, you can slide it off and do what you will with it. It is your figure. So, all right, let's get that dive knife back in there. And then, of course, we have our flippers, right and left, or left and right, same as Torpedoes as well, and same as the eels, red paint, black plastic, and they fit fairly well. And they look really cool too, red on top and bottom, so that's great. So yeah, I do quite like this particular figure, and this head sculpt, like I said, is the same as this one here, but this particular, the Cobra head sculpt, he gave him some stubble, different skin tone, different eye color, some scarring, and looks like a completely different person. They look like two different people. So I think that turned out fairly well. So, all right. So that is our Cobra. Oh, and he also, both of them come with this little dive gauge, what have you, and same as Torpedo as well. So yeah, basically we get a red and a yellow Torpedo. All right, and let's get him to stay still if we can. Get the Joe over here. So he has a yellow stocked SMG, and then yellow painted with the G.I. Joe logo, yellow painted tubes, and I also glued them into the ports here as well, and they pop up like that. And then we have another dark skinned character, so you can tell the difference in skin tone. This guy actually has blue eyes. Pretty cool, huh? And I just lost my Cobra. Oh well, I'll find him later. Hopefully he won't bite me. But yeah, very nice. And I also had to trim the peg down just a tad to get it to sit flush as well. And then he comes with the standard G.I. Joe cartoon laser rifle. Kind of cool. Yellow stock. We've seen this a bunch of times. And same issue with the dive knife. The sheath just kind of flops around. And same way with the pouches on the left leg. And then we have these same left and right flippers, only yellow, but very nice. They flip just fine. Nice and flexible flippers. So there you go. So getting into both figures, and I'll just go over the articulation on this guy, since just for the sake of time. So he looks down that far, and he looks up that far. He rotates all around. Not much movement in the neck at all. And then, oh, here's the Joe logo on the front, under the harness, which is painted a little differently than the Cobra. Just inverted the colors for the most part. And let's see. And like I said, I took off the machete. Pretty good T-pose. Bicep swivel on both. He also comes with his own little dive monitoring system here, wrist mounted, and a little extra paint on the forearms too, to kind of differentiate him. So can't recall if that was part of the actual original cartoon character, the cartoon Joes. So, but at any rate, double jointed pinless elbows, pretty good range of motion. And then the wrist, I think, is vertical. Can't quite tell, but it does rotate all the way around. Yeah, it's got to be vertical. And same way over here. Yep, so two vertical trigger finger hands. I do wish we got some variation in the hands in G.I. Joe. Ab crunch. He bends forward that far. Pretty stiff. Bends back that far. Not a lot of wobble. Pretty good. Now I think Torpedo here was a little wobbly in the waist, and I think I glued it down so he didn't, because the side to side was really loose, but not on this guy, thankfully. And something about this particular, the waist piece here, even though this guy's a slim guy and this is a slim designed waist piece, it does have a tendency to kind of flop around a little bit. So that might also be something that you glue down just to keep it in place, so that there's no gaps showing or anything like that. So that's the arms and the torso, and does have pretty good side to side as well. Let me just say that. And it's not too loose. So kicks up that far, does have drop down hips, and then with the drop down hips he kicks way past 90 degrees. Probably one of the best drop downs of any Joe figure. Same way with the left. And let's see. Yep. A little bit. Thigh swivel. All stuff we're used to. Kicks back fairly far on both legs. Pinless. Very nice. This is a very nice buck, I would have to say. It is one of those things where sometimes you get tired of looking at it, but at the same time, it's just a really good wetsuit style, scuba gear look for figures. So yeah, I am curious to see what the Hydro Viper looks like. I hope they don't reuse anything from this guy. I hope it's all new. But back to this figure, has an ankle swivel instead of a shin swivel, which looks really nice. And then feet down, up, all around. Little wobbly in the feet, right there, and so that can cause a little balance issues and kind of have a tendency to lean forward or fall forward because it just can't hold the weight of all the equipment, kind of like what I'm seeing here. But yeah, so that is our Joe Diver. Here is Torpedo making another appearance and our Recon Diver making another appearance. And oh, another man down. Come on, Recon Diver. And let's see. Oh, and then we have our Cobra eel. Love these. Really like the eels. Have several of those. So yeah, pretty good offering for this set. Did you play the long game? Did you get them on sale? Did you buy them on the first day, or pre-order them, and all that kind of stuff? Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm gonna give these guys a warp factor of 9. I think it's a really solid set. Despite all the reuse, it turned out really well. The paints and everything, the articulation is solid. Other than that the useless machete, I don't. But I'm not going to ding it for that. But this is this is a really solid set. So warp factor of 9. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I will talk to you guys next time. Continue to be awesome.